Wow, new video not even month after last one? What has gotten into me? Okay, but seriously now, I don't think it's a good idea for me to post like one video every 4 months. It would be okay if I was a big YouTuber, like I have like thousands and thousands of subscribers, but like I barely have 400. And maybe I shouldn't really be focusing on this one when I have to kind of focus on Camp Eventon, but hey, why not? And it probably make more sense for me to review season 2 instead of season 1, but that would mean I had to talk about the most boring episodes ever conceived, and I really don't want to do that.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
The worst part of this episode is the name. If we translate it into English, this name is Are Becoming Famous, which I guess is supposed to mean like BrucaBracaBrudaBrada are becoming famous. But that just kind of sounds ugly because it's the only episode that acknowledges the name of the series. The episode's about main 4 guys being deepfaked and put into a movie without their consent. Yeah, that's it. I am sorry, this episode is just nothing. It has few solid jokes, but other than that, it's nothing. We get to know characters' real full names in this episode. I feel like that's literally the only reason why anyone remembers it. And in the case if you're curious, the real names are Janan Horror, Aino Variantaš, Tina Dumina, and Slobodan Milošević. Not to be confused with actual Slobodan Milošević, who is not really the world's greatest person.
Crazy? I was crazy once.
Remember when I said that Construction was the first not two-part episode that followed the story of the last episode? Yeah, I kinda lied. The first one actually would be New Year's Tale because I thought that episode was actually 2-part, but I don't think it is anymore. Mainly because they have different numbers, different names, also their story is connected but not same, and also one in season 1, one in season 2, so I'm not going to talk about this one, I'm going to talk about its predecessor. The episode's about Brada having a seizure and his friends try to take him to a hospital. But they got confused and instead of the actual hospital, they sent him to a mental hospital, so he is stuck there. After they realize their mistake and try to get him back, but they end up being stuck there as well. This eventually leads to New Year's Tale because entire episodes take place at that hospital. And there's an aspect of this episode that's more covered in New Year's Tale, however, I'm not going to talk about it here because it's not a big part of this episode. The biggest issue with this episode is it's pretty boring because like only the beginning it's kind of interesting, the rest of it is just, it's there. Though this is one of the rare instances where the other 3 guys actually care about Brada and I remember, oh yeah, these guys are actually friends. And I really can bring myself to hate this episode because this episode gave us this screenshot. What is this? I know the context full well and I am still confused over what even is this. This is just a piece of art. 10 out of 10 would recommend.
Cristiano Ronaldo!
Every single time I mentioned the weakest episode season 1, I always showed clips of one episode, and that one episode is A Ball is Round. The basic premise of the episode is that Ruth's younger brother Fuca spends way too much time just playing video games than doing football, which he's really good at, which you can see by the fact that his head is literal football ball. And also there's this one guy who I don't actually know who he is because I'm kind of cultured, so I'll just call him a football guy. But whoever he is in town, and Bruce doesn't want Foots to play video games, and he wants him to play actual football so he can impress him, so then he can like kind of do something for his future in football. Personally, I'm not a big fan of this part of the episode. It's not bad, it just never really clicked to me as some other scenes did. And by other scenes, I mean this one scene where Bruca faints and we get to see him like his angry, sad and happy side, which is probably like in the top 5 the greatest moments of this entire series. We also get to see his dad. Not his mom though, she's implied to be dead. We found out he does sports weddings and that he actually sees Bruca as a jinx since every time he looks at him that the person or team that he bets on loses. Oh boy, do I love dysfunctional families! On its own, the episode is not bad. However, when we compare it to the rest of the season, it lacks that substance that makes the rest of the episode more interesting. So it's not bad, but like not interesting as much. Guys, oh my god, it's pilot! Okay, seriously now, defending your quote, there's a pretty good pilot that it really shows us what characters are like and what's their character motivation. The guy's main hangout spot was being sold, and we get to see everybody's reaction to that. Bruca is starting a petition against it, Bruca starts a riot, and Brada actually wants that to get sold because money. Also, Brada is just there because God forbid we try to write our main characters. Yeah, this film is actually pretty good to also show how writers feel about Brada. Just choose any episode in the entire series and I can guarantee he does really little or absolutely nothing for the plot. We have 32 episodes of this, yet only 2 of them actually center around him. Like, how is this guy a main character again? Yeah, I also know that kinda doesn't have anything to do about this episode, I just kinda ran things to say about it. It's a great pilot and overall pretty okay episode. Honestly guys, I really have no clue how to translate this. Where Sarajevo did it used to be? Okay.
Where was Sarajevo once?
Nah, my translation was better. Yeah, I actually think this episode is pretty good. I like the concept of town folk versus neighborhood folks. I like the anti-war dialogue by the end of the episode, and also the first part of the episode is actually really fun. I quote call the fire savers way more than I should. Though I kinda hate how the ending just feels really rushed. First, we found Brada was quote-unquote kidnapped. Then we had a scene of Brada at this random party. Then we found out that Bruda stole the Sebil so he can use the ransom of Brada. What? This is the most random thing that happened in all of these episodes. And then it ends with Brada and these two guys in front of Sebil. Yeah, I feel like that was just completely useless. Why do we needed that? However, if I still have to pick something alive for this ending, it would be definitely the fact that they actually cared when Brada got kidnapped. Gee, I really hope that eventually we won't get this exact same scenario in more dangerous setting and no one will give a damn that Brada is not there. I can't wait for season 4 to be completed so I can talk about this actual trash of an episode.
Oh, that's fucking hilarious.
To be honest with you, I used to really dislike museum bossy and comedy, but recently I started to like it more. What I really like about this episode is that it doesn't really have a main character whose story focuses on. It's literally about all 4 of them. Like, everyone's just doing their thing and doesn't really feel like one character got more screen time or other. And this is what this series should be. It should be episodes without one main character, but more of them. All 4 of them should be a main character at once. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that having an episode one main character is necessarily a bad thing, but it's starting to get a bit repetitive. Most of the more modern episodes kind of forgets he has 4 main characters and focuses only on one and leaving other 3 behind. Either that or you just completely exclude Brada. To be honest, I don't know which is worse. So why did I used to dislike it? I don't know, it was just not my cup of tea, I guess. Nothing in this episode ever really grabbed my attention or just left any kind of impact on me. Except that we actually got to see like a little Bruda that's actually really cool, I like that one. Overall, it's a really decent episode. It's not bad, but I definitely wouldn't call it one of my favorites. Also, fun fact, not so long ago, there was a museum of comedy open in Zagreb. If you ever open out Sarajevo, can we please name it after this episode? It would be actually really cool. So the very first episode, if you don't count pilot of course, is actually really good. The episode's about Bruda having 2 girlfriends and he's like, oh no, I have 2 girlfriends, this is not good, I'm going to break up with one of them. Hey, I'm breaking up with you. Oh no, I'm so sad now. Wait, don't be sad, what I meant by that is that I'm going to marry you. Oh, okay. Well, I should not have done that. Hey, so I'm breaking up with you. I will literally kill you. Actually, I want to marry you. Oh, okay.
I really fucked it up this time.
We also get to see Brada in a dress and Bruda getting beaten up, so it's 10 out of 10 in my book already. Also, since this is the episode that we found about girlfriends of our main 4 guys, I kinda wanna talk about it because, funnily enough, they're perfect spectrum of I hate this, I love this, and between. Starting with Bruca and Kljuca, they're actually a really okay couple. They have their moments together, and while it's not my favorite, I really do like them. Also, Kljuca is actually my favorite female character in that show. She slays every single time she's on screen. Writers also don't know what she sounds like, and she sounds different every single time we see her.
Jaj, kako me nervira stara. Sino sam joj rekla da mi ne šalje poruke. Sjeverna Venezuela predstavlja broj 1 proizvođača i distributera kokaina i hladnog oružja. Nijedan vam odgovor od ponuđenih nije tačan. Naime, ovaj objekat je dobio ime po američkom političaru Richardu.
Then we have Bruda and Luda, which are these 2 even together? It really does not feel like these 2 are together whatsoever. I'm quite sure Bruda has crush on Luda and she doesn't like him back and that's kind of what's happening here. I don't hate it because at least Bruda cares about Luda, which is not something I can say for all these ships, no, because Bratza and Matza exist and they are bane of my existence. I don't know about you guys, but I actually really like when couples care for each other and show interest, which I don't think either of them has done, like, ever. I mean, I think Bratza did show care like once or twice, but still, there's this entire B-plot in one episode about him and Brada going to red light district in Amsterdam, which angers me because of one scene, but we'll get the scene in a minute because it's not about him. And by the way, Mate is the most irritating character I have seen in my entire life.
Izvini, a što s lajku Arnelnu sliku? A joj, ja rad sam idice veze, Bona, pa nije valjda da s ljubomorna na Arnelu. Start su nam kucni prijatelji, ona mi je basono u friendzoni, zna sam, pritom je sa mnom u forumu mladi, zna s koje stranke. A što meni onda nisi lajko ovu zadnju sliku, debilu?
Shut the fuck up!
Looking at what type of couple they are, I'm really sad that they are the one getting the most screen time. I just really wish there was a couple with less screen time that actually cares about each other and has good chemistry together.
Znam ni ja šta ću bez svoje ozade.
Wait a minute! Guys, I am Brada's and Ozada's biggest fan. I love them too much for a couple that only has 4 scenes together. Okay, I'm not even joking, they literally have 4 scenes together. Just to show how little screen time they have together, Ozada has 4 lines in the entire show. 2 of them are in episode 1, 1 of them is episode 9, and the 4th one is in episode 31. So the time gap between her 3rd and 4th line is 3 full years. Why I like them so much they have no screen time together? Easy. They act like a couple and seem to actually enjoy each other's company. You know, let's just go through every single scene of these two and just like let me tell you why I actually think they care about each other like normal couple would, unlike some other people. Okay, the first scene from this episode. They are cuddling, getting high in this random alleyway. Okay, that's actually a fire date at the end, I'm gonna lie. In season 9, when Brada has seizure, Ozada runs to him, clearly worried for his well-being. Okay, now we go back to that one red lights district scene I was talking about earlier. In the episode, this one scene with Brada and the stripper girl, and Brada is telling her that he is only there because Bratza was keen to come here and just followed him, and then proceeds to say, and I quote,
A meni vala malo I beze zbog ozade, sama dole u švrakinom.
This is not only the scene that made this couple my favorite, but it's also a scene where Brada became a favorite character. We stand the loyal king. And their last scene together is from episode Wall, which is about giant wall separating Sarajevo, and he seems sad that Zada may be on the other side. She's not, but he doesn't notice because she's literally whispering for some reason.
Tu sam, Bodane, tu sam.
Aume mi, sve čujem kako mi govori, tu sam, Bodane, tu sam.
You know, Dvora should have been about these two getting married, not Mats and Bratza, let's be real.
Not since the war.
This is Fever Dream, the episode. No, because the entire plot is just, they smoke weed and then war happens. There's this scene with Bratza representing different European countries, and they're singing parody of Bosnian song, actually I don't know if it's Bosnian or it's different, but Balkan, I don't know, song named Let There Be No War. This is insane! Though this episode being insane is not a bad thing, and nothing actually just helps episode being better. I remember dying of laughter first time I watched the episode, however I didn't laugh as much second time because most of the jokes are just something that you did not expect, and when you expect that, it's not as funny. However, this episode isn't only good just because it's funny, it's like actually a good episode beside that. I like this one scene where Bratza comes with a contract that was supposed to end the war and Bruda gets mad at him. Because while he was out there in a different country, Bruda was still here in his country fighting. He received massive injuries, he got PTSD, he probably watched people he knew and loved die. Wars often do end like that, with countries coming together and finishing stuff democratically, never mind thousands, maybe a million of people who died, and even more people who will live with that trauma for the rest of their lives. BrucaBracaBrudaBrada is a satire series, so it makes sense for them to be making fun of something like this. However, this is definitely one of the best episodes when it comes to satire and satirizing our real life. Only other one I can think of is season 2, and eventually we'll talk about it, but not right now because that's a completely different topic. Though I just want to point out that in this episode they made Brad a Serbian soldier, which I don't really care about. I don't think they're supposed to tell us that he supports them, but you know, it's kinda weird that you make like the only canonical Serbian character who is also named after a literal war criminal a Serbian soldier. Like, what are you trying to say with that?
Vacation, yeah. Vacation, yeah.
You know, there's a reason why this is the most viewed episode on their entire channel. It's good. Guys, this is your PSA to not make characters with same sounding names because I have been trying to pronounce this next line for at least 20 times. And I just cannot get it right because I keep messing up the names. I'm trying to say Brada but I say Bruda. I'm trying to say Bratza but I say Bruca. And it's just so annoying. So I'm not gonna record that next line. I'm just going to put a text over there because I cannot record it for life of me.
Neka te Bruda, ohani braca, stante brada. Kako ne kontate da nije važno čime ćemo putovat i koliko će se bit. Ja mislim da je red da ispoštujemo našeg druga, barem jednom u životu.
That is cool. I like that. Hey guys, you ever notice that every time they acted somehow friendly towards Brada, I praise them? That's because they actually act like goddamn friends. Or at very least acknowledge him, which I don't think they do anymore. Similar to Comedy Museum, I really like this one because it doesn't have a main character and it's a little bit about everybody. But unlike that other episode, this one doesn't have multiple plot lines that go together, just one big one where all four of them are important. And I kinda like that more, but it's not really any big difference. Honestly, if you're just like me and you watch episodic series in literally any order except the one you're supposed to, I would recommend this one be your first. If you like episodes where characters just get to be friends and do stuff together, this is definitely an episode for you. Also, there's that one banger of a line that goes like, I have seen so many people use that sound on TikTok to show off the fact that they're on vacation. Heck, even I used it once. Though similar to that one episode I couldn't really translate, this episode also kind of forgets what it's about by the end. However, that's the only negative thing I have to say about it. So yeah, if you have time, please check it out.
You have father issues.
You know, if I had a nickel for every single time, I liked the episode because of the ending, which include Bratza getting hurt in some kind of way. I would have 2 nickels. You know, I wasn't originally going to put elections here as a first place. However, I thought about it and actually liked this episode more than I liked C. The election is the episode about Bratza's first candidates for mayor of Shrakino. To ensure his win, Bratza gets Brada to count votes, aka counts only flyers with his name on it, aka all of them. That plan fails because Brada didn't realize he was supposed to count flyers with Bratza's actual name on it and ends up just thinking he's supposed to count flyers with Bratza's nickname on it. So technically he didn't get any votes. Okay, but to be fair, they told him to count only ones with Bratza's name on it. They didn't say specifically to count only ones with Aino Variantas on it, only Bratza, so I don't blame him. I mean, that should be common knowledge, but considering the fact that Brada apparently doesn't know what alphabet is, it does seem really out of hand. Though, what really sells this episode for me is the ending, where Bratza has a nightmare about his dad disappearing on him, and then he wakes up crying.
Ali ovo ništa kako se bitka završim.
Opet se baviš ovim glupostima, Ajnure? Sad se svinovo da prekrećiš? Koliko sam ti puta rekao da se maniš gluposti od tog se ne živi?
Ali babuli!
Ajde da izračunamo koji ćeš fakultet da upiseš, a isplaniramo neku svjetliju budućnost.
Also, through whole credits, we can hear him crying in the background, so that kinda shocked me when I first watched it. But Nadja, what's so special about that, you wonder? You see, the show started as small animated sketches where characters' only purpose was to be a caricature for making jokes. And that worked well, since that's all you need when it comes to making 5-6 minute long episodes. However, when those sketches become 10 or even more minutes longer, it really doesn't work anymore. You can't just keep them as caricatures with few personality traits throughout the day. You have to make them an actual character. And that's why this ending works. Because they are building upon personality they already gave to Bratza. Bratza has always been a spoiled tramp who only cared about himself, and now we found out that he struggles with trying to make his father proud and happy with him. I mean, sure, it's not really the most creative or original thing out there, but it's really neat. And that's why I think Elections is the best season 1 episode. This video took me way too long, wow. As I already said once, I really do want to start making more freaking videos. Heck, I started making another one during this one. And I know what you're thinking, and no, it's not BBBB season 2 ranking. Still do want to do that, of course. However, I just want to put BBB stuff on the hold and actually focus on something else. In fact, my next video will be about the Cartoon Network show. I really hated Cartoon Network show. I really hated it and forgotten Cartoon Network show. At least I think it is forgotten, like its second season was lost media until recently. Try to guess what am I talking about. If you get it right, I will heart your comment. Until then, bye!